Okay, what are we doing here? This is a root over rock being prepared. I think this was started last year, and we're gonna see what kind of progress it has made. So I'll go ahead and take it out of the can and see how we are doing. A lot of times we'll take it out, take a look, and then stick it back in. Well, I got it out of the can, but whew, it's kind of messy, especially when it's wet. But I'm going to start taking the soil off and see what we have. Is start to take the soil off the top, see how deep we could go before we have to stop. And can this go into another container, or does it go back into the same container that it just came out of? You know, you can make all kinds of plans, and it only works when it feels like working. One of the most difficult parts of the root over rock is having the right material and the right rock at the same time. And that's why when I used to have a class on root over rock, it was the most difficult. So I quit doing it. It's just a matter of luck. Now, oh yeah, there's a big rock under. Here's some rock. Oh, it's quite a big rock in here. Well, I did this from a root cutting. Root cutting works real good with elm because they're very flexible at that time. But root cutting don't have any growth, right? It's just the root. But if you do the Chinese elm right, it will re-sprout 90% of the time. There's occasionally that fails, but most of the time it makes it. So look at it, it's starting to come out. And I'm pretty sure this rock, I put a concrete base so that it, see how stable it is? Well, eventually it's going to be in a very shallow container, so it has to have a solid base. Well, the other way would be to take your rock and cut so it has a flat bottom. But a lot of times you end up losing the size of your rock by having to cut the bottom, plus the fact that it's not easy to cut rocks. So I'm starting to see that there's a big rock underneath there, and it probably will not have to go back into that container we just took it out of, but then I have to find a container to put this in. Okay, I have a dilemma. Well, I don't have the right size container. So the one in the back is a mica pot. It's way too big. This is one of the nursery flats, and I might have to go with that. It's big, but it's about the right depth. So because I don't have any other choice at this point, I'm going to put it in there. Well, it's not pretty, but it kind of serves the function. So I need to go look for a pot that is probably oval, about like this, and then it could be a little bit narrower. A lot of times finding the right pot at the right time is really getting difficult. I used to have a good supplier, but then she retired. And now it seems like all the importers are importing the same old thing. And this one's going to require something that's nice eventually. Okay, so I got another couple of years before I'm going to be in really need of a nice pot. But anyway, well, we got done with that big one. Since I got the mess here anyway, I brought this little guy here, and let's see how this one's doing. Same age, same time. So last year I stuck it on the rock and just put it off to the side. So I'm going to take it out and see what it looks like. Okay, let's see what we got. I should make a note to myself. Don't do big ones. So this one is a little flattish. Yeah, this, I think a lot easier to do these. I could put this into a nice bonsai pot now and then let it progress. Yes, much easier. Well, the trial fit looks good, so I'll put some soil on the bottom. I think that's about right. Probably could go in the oval eventually, but since I have this round pot, to me, round pots are non-committal. So this one is nice and simple, a little bit flattish, but you know, you gotta make root over rock, all different kinds. So I think I'm gonna bring this so that it has a nice tight head. You know, some people make it tall, then you lose your attraction. If you keep it tight, then you'll see this, versus if it's like this, you don't know where your eye should go. So well, I should probably do it anyway, huh? And then, so this is a side branch, and then get kind of a canopy style in here. Think, well, we don't know yet. Things will happen. But anyway, hopefully you learn something from these two. Very simple. Well, it's not simple. Lucky. I guess I was lucky on these that these came out. Like I was saying before, these are root cuttings, so that you just took the roots, stuck it on the rock, taped it, right? And then the shoots came out. I think this one I already removed some of the side. That's why it has the main and then the side branch. But because the success rate on elm is so good, I always found this was the simplest way to do it. Well, anyway, so hopefully you enjoy watching these two root over rock Chinese elm. And I'll be doing more as I go along, but I wanted to see how these were faring after 1 year of growth. So this was last year that I put this on the rock, just root without the growth, and this is how far we got. So I'm thinking another 2-3 years, this should be looking pretty good. So anyway, I'll see you again real soon in another chapter.